So from the actual summit of Culca Mountain, if you imagine as you're going to make your way down the 6 or 7 kilometres that it is towards the lowland areas, what you will get to see is an aerial view of that diversity, of that array of habitats that you find, and hopefully get up close and personal with some of the plants and the animals that actually live within it. So on the summit, as you're standing there and as you're standing on the top, it will look like something completely alien. Think something space aligned maybe in your head. Lots of mosses, lichens there that you're very unlikely to see in any other part of Fermanagh unless you're a very intrepid explorer. As you make your way down the mountain, you'll encounter all sorts of scree soaps, the mosses and lichens are still there, you may not notice them as much. What you will start to notice is this massive expanse of brown as the blanket bog opens up right in front of you. Depending on the time of year that you walk along that bog, you will see pockets of beautiful colour. Lots of people think them as quite boring, mundane places. Lots of colour. The white of your bog cottons, for example, the purple of the 3 types of heather that you can actually find on that bog, the yellow of the bog asphodel, the bone breaker that's in there, a fantastic plant you find in the bog species. And if you get right up in and look closely, you will see the spectacular sundew, the reds and the greens that you find in that little plant that's only just the size of your thumbnail. But if you look widely around, you hopefully might catch a glimpse of a fox, of badgers that you find in that area as well. If you listen closely, you could hear the calls of the birds of prey in the skies above you. So buzzards, for example, merlins, sometimes peregrines if you're extremely lucky, that you will find there, as well as some other sort of more common birds. But those are the unique ones that you're really likely to see here. Ravens, for example, you can't forget the shadow of a raven flying up above you in the headlands. But as you move down then into the lowlands and you weave your way through this intricate blanket bog and experience that up close, you will notice that the brown fades away and you're into these fantastic areas of limestone grasslands. This vibrant green, these shallow, thin soils that are just covered and littered, particularly at this time of year, with spectacular wildflowers that you really will not see anywhere else. The purples of your wild thymes, for example, the whites that we can see here of the eyebrights that you find, all unique and all intricate and all just in this particular area. Once again, hares, Irish hares, you may be lucky enough to encounter those. Some of our goats, our wild goat populations as well that you can see in the area too. I suppose I've forgotten to mention as well some of the spectacular invertebrates, and by that I mean our butterflies and our moths that you find here. One particularly rare one that you need to look in the transition between the green and the brown and slightly higher up would be the marsh fritillary, for example. You see lots of reds, golds, greens, blues. They're all here if you just get your eye in and look closely for them. And then as you make your way further down, as we transition then towards the Lough shore, obviously there you're more likely to encounter more of our wetland bird species that you find here, feeding on the shores down there as well. The fish populations are extremely unique that you would find in the river, trout, salmon, for example, that you will see. And if you're lucky enough, you might spot an albino one that's maybe been underground for a period of time, trapped, and may make its way out and could be completely white in colour. The water quality, thankfully, is still extremely high, very, very high quality. And because of that, you will get mayfly nymphs, you will get shrimps, freshwater shrimps of all sorts of descriptions that you find in the water. And perhaps even our friends the otter, who frequently reside on the banks of the Claddagh Glen in there, dipping in and out to hopefully get their hands on one of those fantastic trout. And if you look really closely, kingfisher. You could be able to spot a kingfisher on the sand, on the banks in there as well as experiencing that fantastic ash woodland that is down there as well, which is very, very unique and can't really be experienced to that extent anywhere else.